Hi everybody, this is Michelle with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations, and I have a really fun banner project that I would like to share with you. I'm using the exclusive paper collection Midnight Kiss by Country Craft Creations, and this paper is absolutely gorgeous. And I don't know about you, but I have not seen any New Year's themed kind of papers ever, and this is an amazing collection. It is so beautiful, it's so rich, it's so the colors are stunning with the golds and the silvers, the pink, the black. It's just amazing, and it is a great collection. This is exclusively available by Country Craft Creations, and I'm so excited I get to play with this and make a design team project. So in this paper you get all of the pattern papers here, but you also get the coolest things. So not only do you get the cut aparts and the journaling cards with some banners at the bottom, but you also get some beautiful envelopes and some pockets and tags and things to decorate those envelopes and tags and pockets. And they're just amazing. So this is a fun project to work with, and I'm just really excited about this project. So I had an idea about making a banner project because I wanted, like some decor. I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of New Year's Eve decor pieces, and this just screamed, do something pretty. So I also did a walkthrough on this project that I did, which is another decor piece that I'm going to keep for myself in my home. And I have a video, and I'll have the link below for that. I think this will be the first one I'm going to share, and then I will share this. So I will have a link if you haven't seen this to go check it out. This isn't a tutorial per se, but I did talk through how I do it. And some of the elements like the confetti, I'm going to show you how to make in this video as well, because this was a real fun piece to make. But it's just, I use some confetti in there, some shaker elements. I used some foam tape from Country Craft Creations, popped it up. It's going to be really pretty on my fireplace mantle. I just think it's gorgeous. So let's get started with this tutorial. Now this is a banner tutorial. This is going to be really fun, but my idea was that I was walking through my local craft store, and I found this beaded garland, and they had it for clearance. And it's quite long, and it's quite plain, but I thought, we make banners all the time. What if I tried to make a banner that I could make the panels replaceable? So when I made my panels, instead of threading like a long string through the banners, what I did was I put some ribbons here so that I could tie them onto my banner. Okay, like in a bow, and then hang them around the beads. Okay, the bow would make a pretty accent. Okay, and then you can replace them. So the next holiday, Valentine's Day, you could make banners for Valentine's Day, and all you have to do is simply replace them. You can leave this beaded garland up and then just replace the panels, which I thought was kind of a, fun little idea. Now, I could also, I couldn't figure out what kind of hooks to use, but you could also use maybe some miniature Christmas tree hooks and then just hook them on here. Because with this kind of garland, it would totally work. And the beaded garlands are kind of really in right now. So, it was my idea. So that's what I'm going to do. So I purchased this. I'm not going to paint it or anything. I'm going to leave it totally natural, because then it will, kind of blend in with whatever, papers I put with it. But I already made 4 of the panels. I'm going to make 5 in total, and we'll go through all of the panels real quick, and then we'll go ahead and I'll show you how I made this. So when I designed this, I didn't want kind of like the average kind of thing. And in there's another tutorial that I have coming up for the New Year's Eve crop, where I am showing you how to make your very own, traveler's notebook, as far as using a graphic 45 one that I purchased from Country Craft Creations, and how to cover it and everything. Well, in it, I show you how to make some paper clips, and I used this kind of banner design to decorate the paper clips. And I thought, well, that's a great idea to make for banner pieces. So it really kind of shows off the paper. It's a little bit asymmetrical. It's not quite the usual banner piece, and I just thought it was really fun. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I used black Artisan cardstock, Pearl Sheen Gold paper and the beautiful papers from the collection, and it's just absolutely stunning. So we're going to make rosettes. We're going to use cut-aparts to decorate the rosettes, and then I'm going to show you how to make the confetti streamers to put on your projects. And that was a really fun thing to do because it used up some extra pieces, gave dimension, and then I wanted that party flair. So that was a perfect thing to do. So the ribbons are all from my stash. The eyelets are from my stash, but everything else, Country Craft Creations. All right, so here's my first panel, 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year. And I did put some gems from my stash in the clocks. That kind of gave it a little bit more sparkle. So here's my first piece. My second piece, I used, again, the paper from the collection. I fussy cut out this couple from the collection, and this is from one of the cut-aparts. I had a balloon punch. Believe it or not, I still have like a ton of punches. You guys wouldn't believe it. I remembered that I had balloons, so I added more balloons out of the gold mirror paper that is also available at Country Craft Creations. And let me show you. I think I have some pieces left because I was playing with some pieces here. So I have the mirrored paper, the gold and the silver is just absolutely gorgeous. And I hope I'm not like glaring you out too much with this, but these are available at Country Craft Creations. They're in 8.5 by 11 sheets, and they're amazing. So I punched the balloons out of the gold. I wanted to kind of give that little pop of flair. I had some ribbon from my stash, so I just did that behind. And then what I did was on all of the things that I put on top of the rosettes, I backed them with black Artisan cardstock and then fussy cut around them and then made the streamers. You set their eyelets, you put your string or your ribbon through there, and then you're ready to tie it to your project. So I just thought that was just beautiful, just gorgeous. So the next banner that I made, this one here, same kind of thing. It's just, you know, you can play with this. There's like a bazillion different things you can do with this. There's so many cut-aparts. There's so many different papers that you could use. Just, you know, your imagination is all you need. So all of the banners are made the same way. So they're all the same, but everything else is kind of different. Where I set the rosettes, what pieces I used. I did put 3 streamers on each one. I did use some bling on almost all of them. I didn't use bling on the one I just showed you, but I did use the gold paper. So, you know, there is some shine to that. But isn't that beautiful? Popped up with some black foam tape, which I did get from Country Craft Creations. This started as a 54-foot roll. So I've used quite a little bit of that. And I just, you know, pop some stuff up, give it dimension. Just think it's really pretty. Then my last one that I did already create is this one. I've added some more bling. Now I did some different bling in the headlights of the car. I wanted to try to place my rosettes where I thought, you know, a lot of the images would be beautiful, you know, around it. On here, underneath here is the same image. I just cut another one out, fussy cut it, popped it up on some foam tape, excuse me, and then raised it up just a little bit. And then here, Auld Lang Syne, I popped that up in the middle with a little bit of foam tape to kind of give it that banner kind of feel. So a lot of dimension in these paper banners. So I just think it's really pretty. I think it's going to look gorgeous once I get it hung up. So let's talk about, I got some pieces ready. Let's talk about how we do this. So we're going to start first with the actual banner piece. So the actual banner piece is going to be a piece that's 5 by 12. And what you're going to do is you're going to put it in your scoreboard. Let's grab your scoreboard. And here is how I did it. We're gonna score it and fold it so that it will fold like this. So how I did this, and let me explain this to you. So I'm just kind of like, if you put it in your scoreboard and you put it down, that's the measurement here is 6 3/4. Down here is 6 1/4. But how do you kind of get that? So let me show you how I did it. So if you put your piece in your scoreboard and grab a pencil, and so this is 5 by 12, put it in and do a mark, a little tick mark at 6 3/4, and then turn it around. And then what you're going to do, and this is the easiest thing to do, so you just flipped it completely around, okay? So we just did our mark, don't flip it over, just turn it all the way over, and then go at 5 3/4. Okay? So then once you do that, then all you have to do is line up your tick marks. And that is why I have one of my lines here marked in highlighter, or not highlighter, Sharpie, so that I can line up tick marks like this, especially since it, you know, it's cockeyed. And then I'm going to go ahead and just score, and that's going to give us that diagonal score line. And I hope you can see that. All right. So then when you fold this, get this out of the way, when you fold it, it's going to give you that offset fold that we're looking for. So we have our offset piece. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pattern for covering the pattern papers. And I found this to kind of be the easiest thing, because once you get the pattern, then you don't really have to worry about, you know, remeasuring and all that stuff. So if you take your paper here and you measure like this first panel. So this first panel, the longest edge is 5 3/4, and it's 5 wide. So what I did was I went down 1/4 inch. So I cut a square that's 5 1/2 by 4 3/4. All right, so that will fit. If you look at the panel, that'll fit like that with 1/8 inch on all sides. Okay, and this line here, it will go up to the fold. Okay, then you just need to, on the end, measure down 1/2 inch and then cut that angle off. And what that's going to do is give you, excuse me, the perfect angle for that top edge. All right, and then what I did was on my pattern piece, I measured up 1 inch up from the center. Okay, so I took my measuring ruler and I put it down at 1 inch, and I found the center. So if you put it in the middle, it should be 2 3/8 on either side of your center. And then I put a dot and then just connected the pieces. And then I cut it out. So this is your banner piece. Now, if you decide that you want your banner to be the other direction, all you got to do is flip it over. So it's really, really easy to do this. Okay. So then the next thing I did after I made kind of my models, and I hope this makes sense. So I did it for the back page too. So again, I cut it at 6 1/2 by 4 3/4, same 1/2 inch angle off the top, same 1 inch up. And then, so for the inside of the back piece, you'll end up with a piece like that. Okay, and that's going to go underneath. So that will be under here. So you're going to get the contrast with the black cardstock, and then you'll have the gold paper underneath. And I just thought that was just beautiful. It also makes it quite sturdy because you now have 4 layers of paper on your project. So it is going to be quite sturdy. You do not need to use any chipboard, lightweight or otherwise. Okay. So once I did that, now you're probably thinking, why isn't she cutting them out here? Well, I don't know about you, but I have kind of sometimes a hard time making, if I cut these and then cut my paper, sometimes I get it off. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these as templates for my papers. And I've just laid these, drew around them, and cut them out. Okay. So I cut my pieces. All right, same. I'm going to glue these down, and then what I'm going to do is then cut those out. And then that way I will get a very straight edge, and it will be the perfect little, slip of paper showing on both sides, and it won't be kind of wonky and off. So what we're going to do is I'll glue this down. I am using art glitter glue. Maybe I'm using art glitter glue. It worked earlier. It always does that, doesn't it? Always does that. All right, so I'm going to put my glue on my banner piece. I'll show you what I mean. So if you make the patterns then this makes it kind of easy, because then you, once you measure it, then you just use the patterns. And then if you're like me and you're going to maybe repeat this process and make banners for a lot of the holidays, so you can replace these like, you know, the project was intended, then you have your pattern pieces ready to go and you don't have to go through this process again. So I'm going to keep these. All right, I'm going to glue that down. And I didn't ink the papers. Okay, so now remember, this piece is going to go on the inside. All right, so again, we're just going to glue that down, and we're going to worry about the bottoms in just a minute. Using art glitter glue from the store. I love it. It sets really nice. All right. All right. Now, a lot of this paper won't show, but it will give lots of stability to your project. Okay, so we have that at this point. Okay, so then I'm just going to freehand my scissors, and I'm going to just cut up from the corner like so. And for me, this gives me an easier way to get that edge. And then it pretty much matches my pattern paper, so it doesn't, you know, appear off. To me anyway. So this is just my method. Obviously, there's lots of ways to do this. All right. So then we have our pattern piece, or our banner piece. Okay. So when you put, and I know I marked this up a little bit, but again, when you put it in your scoreboard, you're going to make a tick mark here at 6 3/4. Okay. Then you're going to turn it around. This tick mark here will be at 5 3/4. All right. Line it up, score it, fold it. We're going to make our patterns. So you're going to cut a piece that's 6 1/2 by 4 3/4, inch off the top, and then go up an inch in the center. Cut those pieces out. The second piece will be 5 1/2 by 4 3/4. Same thing. Cut the 1/2 inch off, 1 inch up, cut that out, and you'll end up with your pattern pieces that you can use on your banner. Okay, and just make sure that you have the orientation right, so you have the right paper sticking up, because if you want the other side, for example, that's not going to work. So you make sure you got your pattern the way you want it, but it'll work either way. All right, so then now we have our banner piece. So then the next thing to do is, what I did was I went in the back and I just kind of drew a line down the side, and this right here is where we're going to put our glue. So I'm going to glue this together. And this is the back of our banner. I didn't cover the backs because nobody's going to see it. So I left that completely blank. Although I suppose if you want to get real fancy, you could put another piece on here and do that too. But you know what? I'm just going to make new banner pieces for that. So we have our banner piece. So then the next thing to do, we need to set our eyelets in and get that done. Because if we don't right now, then it might be harder once we get all the stuff on it. And then we're just going to know. So I'm just kind of doing it. I'm eyeballing this really. And I kind of went through her face. Sorry. So I'm kind of eyeballing this a little bit, but it's about 1/4 inch in from the side and the top. Set our eyelets. I had these really pretty gold ones in my stash. I just thought, fit the theme. All right. So we have our eyelets set. So then we need to make the rosette, the next thing to do. So when you make your rosettes, the easiest thing to do is to score your paper all at once and then cut the strips. All right. So what you're going to need for this are 2 pieces of paper. You're going to need one that's 12 by 10.5 and one that's 12 by 7. And we're going to score it, and then you're going to cut this in 1 3/4 inch strips. Okay, each rosette will need 2 strips. So when I make my rosettes, and I think this is a big deal, so I do this all the time, and this is how I do my rosettes. It makes it easier to fold them so they don't kind of fold wonky, and it just makes it easier for me. So what I always do is, let me get the correct side here. So when you put your piece in, now you can cut 1 3/4 inch strips and then just do it, but then you have 10 strips that you're going to have to put in your scoreboard and individually score. If you do it this way, you only have to do it twice, and then you cut your scores, or you cut your strips, and then you'll be done with it. So you basically only have to do it twice. When I do my rosettes, I'm doing a 1/2 inch in between the scores, and I alternate them. So what I mean by that is that I'm going to start at a 1/2 and score all the way down, and then I'm going to skip the next one and go to 1 1/2, 2 1/2, 3 1/2, and so on across the paper. Then I'm going to flip it over and do the opposite score. We've already got one started at 1/2, so we're going to go to 1, where there's no score, 2, 3, and so on all the way down the paper. So that way your scores, you fold, you know, like away from like the valley. So they're going to be opposite. So you'll have your mountain, valley, mountain. Did I say that right? So yeah, you have your mountain, valley when you make your rosettes. So it'll fold easier. Trust me on this one. So you're going to do that with both of your papers, and then you're going to cut them all into 1 3/4 inch strips. You should have 10 with all of this. So then once you're done with that, let me put this out of the way. You're going to, I'm going to put it down and just fold with your scores. And these do tend to line up a lot easier when you do it this way. I'm using Pearl Sheen Gold paper, so it's a really awesome paper to work with. Artisan, it doesn't matter quite so much, I mean, because that paper can go either direction when you make a score, but like when you're making pockets and things like that, you know, it's fine to, if you need to score the opposite direction. But with rosettes, it just makes it a lot easier to make sure everything's lined up right, because you kind of see, I mean, it's pretty perfect without me kind of fiddling with it. So I'm just going to squish it down just a little bit, just by hand, okay? And then we're going to glue them together. So I'm going to take one of these folds here, put a little glue, and then I'm going to take the other one opposite, like that. I'm sure you all have made rosettes before. Then I'm just going to glue that down. Like so. Make sure I pinch it down. Okay, so now we have a long strip. And then we're just going to do the other end. Glue that down. Oop. Make sure you don't crook it up when you get it glued down. I think I just made up a new phrase. Crook it up. Don't crook it up. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so now we have that. So then I used 2 1-inch circles of the Pearl Sheen Gold to go ahead and create the rosette. Now, this one, I'm going to go ahead and, whoops, throw that around, because, you know, I have to throw something around during my tutorials. You guys know that. I'm going to put a lot of glue on here because I want to make sure it sticks and stays, okay? So then I'm going to just kind of gather this up and squish it down, okay? And glue this down. So I'm going to get this off the table. Now you can use hot glue, and sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. Art glitter glue works really, really well with this. You just need to hold it for a sec and make sure that everything is good. And I'm going to do one on each side. And then that will completely stabilize this. It's amazing how well this works. Okay. So then while I'm holding this, what I was doing the other night is I'm just like dabbing glue on this one while I'm holding this, getting it ready. Because sometimes it'll want to bend up when you turn it over. So I just want to make sure that I got that ready to go. I'm going to turn it over. Keep my fingers on it. And then put the other one down on top. Okay. We're just going to hold that for just a sec. And this will set pretty darn quickly. It's amazing how quickly this sets. All right, let's try this. Yeah, see? I mean, it's just amazing. It's just amazing how quickly that sets. So this will be good to go. Okay, banner piece. Now we just have to figure out where we're going to put our banner. What part we want to show. We want to make sure that we don't cover up our peoples too much. So I'm thinking I might go off to the side like that and have her peeking out. And then we're going to glue it down. And then I have my embellishments already. I got a couple cut aparts that I thought were really pretty. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to grab my glue here. And I'm going to go up as far as I can to the eyelet. Not over my little couple's face down here. I kind of want them sticking out. And press that down. And the offset again gives it lots of dimensions, so I think that's really cool. And then with the cut apart here with New York City and the ball, I mean, just seriously, I love it. I just love it. I'm just going to glue this a lot because I want it to stick. There's not a lot of surface here with the rosettes, so I just want to make sure. I'm going to go this way because I have that other piece that I'm going to layer on top. I want to try to catch the tops of my rosettes with some of that glue. I'm going to just hold that down for a second. This is so much fun to do. So I was playing with the other banners and it's just so relaxing and it's just so much fun to just do this. It's just awesome. I love it. Okay, so then we have our little champagne glasses and our bottle of champagne here, and I just cut, again, black cardstock to back all of the pieces that I put on here, give it a little bit more dimension. New Year's Eve toast right there. And voila. So we're finished with that. Now we're going to make some beautiful little streamer confetti. Okay, so this one I already made. Let me show you how I did that. So I just took a piece of the Pearl Sheen Gold and I roughly cut it at 6 inches. So I cut a strip at 12 and then I cut it in half to roughly 6 inches. Okay, and then I grabbed my bone folder and then I just did it like the curly ribbon that you can get for your packages and just kind of started, you know, giving it a little bit of the curl to get it started. And then I took, this is just a stylus here, and then I'm just going to wrap it around the stylus to get that shape that I want. And you can make these as short or as long as you want. And then once I did that, So I'm going to just kind of hold it with my fingers. I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to put a little dot of glue right down the end. And then carefully, this is the tricky part, but carefully, I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to figure out where I want this. And I'm going to stick it down. And I'm going to untwist it because I'm on camera and that's how I do. And don't worry if this happens because art glitter glue does dry clear. So if you do, you know, end up having to redo it, it's okay because it will dry clear and you won't have to worry about it, okay? So I'm gonna stick it down. Once you get the hang of this, it'll be really easy to do. I had fun doing this. And you can also, I'll show you one that I can do kind of freehand too without using this to stick it down. So just give it a second and then just pull this guy out and then you have your little streamer confetti there. So then this one here, I've already curled and I'm just gonna, you know, make sure that it's curled the way I want it. You can use your fingers and kind of help do that. You can stretch it out a little bit if you want to. Get the curl the way you want and then figure out what's going to lay down. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and set it down and then just hold it down for a few seconds. It'll catch. And then you'll have another little streamer. So those are kind of fun to do. Super fun to do, I thought. So there's that. And then I think we need one more because I think you know, I like to do things in thirds. A lot of stuff is over here. I think we'll put one over here. So again, let's go ahead and I'm just going to start the curl. Wrap it around. Now I suppose you could also use a quilling tool as well if you wanted to. Totally up to you. I just use this. And then we'll stick that down like right about here. I thought it really tied into the ribbon. Now the other thing you can do is you can carefully slide that back in there and then use that to help hold it down. Okay. Let's give it a second to catch. All right. So we have some streamers going over our project. I just think that's really cute. Then let's go ahead and I have some jewels that I picked out that I would like to add. So I just want to kind of sparkle it up a little bit. So on the pattern paper, there are some, you know, kind of splotches of color there that look like, you know, shiny gold dots. So I'm going to add a few to that. So I'm just going to put a little dot there and grab this. I'm using, let's see, my smaller gems, just like so. Put as many or as little as you want. Let's see, where are did I use all my smaller ones? Oh, there's one. There we go. Yes. Let's do one down here. Well, that's not the tool that's going to do it, is it? Okay. There. Oh, so pretty. So super pretty. I just love it. Just absolutely love it. I just think it's so pretty. Then you know what we could do is use some bigger ones here. Let's just add a bigger one to each side because we can. Add just a touch more bling. All right, so there we have it. I hope you didn't get my, gray hair in that shot, but look at how pretty. And it's so simple and so easy to do, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. So the art glitter glue will dry fairly quickly. So now there's you could do all kinds of stuff with this. I mean, your imagination is the only thing that will limit you in this. I was keeping these, I mean, I wanted a little bit of bling, but I was keeping them kind of more simple. But yeah, super fun to do. I love the offset banner piece. Okay, so then the last thing we need to do is I grabbed a ribbon from my stash. I had in, I don't know, some shopping trip a long time ago, they had like a grab bag of silver and gold, different sizes, different widths, different kinds, all kinds of stuff. And so I thought, well, this is perfect. So each banner has a different ribbon. I'm just going to loop it through. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to lock these. So you're going to loop it through just like you would do a normal tag where you put it through and then you put the strings through. But then before you tighten it up, go through this loop and twist it once. Okay, so you see that twist? And then put the ends back through that twist. And what it's going to do is kind of look like a figure 8. And that's going to help lock that. So when you're not using it, they won't come loose and fall out. All right. Just a little trick that I learned, especially on ribbons that don't really want to tighten down a whole lot. It just drives me nuts when they get loose. This works really well for, tags in albums and things too. It just really works. And I've been using this a lot lately, and it works really good. So loop it through just like you would normally do, but then do that extra twist and then pull it back through. And then cinch it down and you're good to go. So now you have your tie that you can hang on your beaded garland, and the bow at the top will be another added kind of piece of flair, if you so to say. So there is my project. Let me get these out of the way, and I'll kind of line these up so you can see them. They're beautiful. I just think they're absolutely beautiful, and they're going to look absolutely gorgeous for any decor. And I just think you're going to love them. So this is my banner project. I know you've seen the pictures at the beginning of the video of what it looks like kind of hanging from my fireplace. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know. And if you have any questions, again, please let me know. And I will see you guys real soon with another tutorial. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.